as Kaisa first pick Lyric. Now to see if JDG want to get a strong 2 on the other side. Maokai Jayce is open. I'm just going to throw that in there.
Exactly. Maokai Jayce is where I think you'd expect to go. JDG have been one of the big teams like banning lots of Maokai and not playing it a whole lot. So we'll see how comfortable they are with it. But I like this. You have to take away the Rakan. It's Mystic's most played champion too. But in my mind, like, you think of Ornn's whole career and you think of the Rakan. So not only are you, like, is it a great pick for Missing, you're also taking it away from a guy who it is his signature champion.
Well, at least you add another engaged tool as a Rell with Kaisa Lyric, one of the strongest 2v2s in the bot lane at the moment. On top of that, you know, they don't pick the Maokai up on JDG's side. So there you go. It's pretty cut and dry here for BLG, picking 3 very strong meta champions, while JDG have to readjust to see if they want to pick jungle here as response.
I was going to say, a lot of, like, you could question, oh, like, why reveal the Rell flex so early? Which I guess technically you're not, right? Because you can also still play Maokai in the bot lane. But Xun hasn't played Rell yet, so I would expect it to go bot and just have Xun pick up that Maokai. Despite the fact that JDG haven't leaned on it, they take the Maokai away, which does lead to the Sejuani. So it's going to be a bit of a more interesting game. I definitely expect the pace to be a bit slower, not by much, because we know in terms of just the lanes themselves, they are incredibly aggressive. Like we saw down in that 2v2 in game 1, they wanted to find blood. But now for JDG, it's going to be taking away some of the comfortable mid laners from Yagao. Now, really all the S-tier meta picks are off the table. And I wonder if they either ban Ahri last because it's something that Yagao is comfortable pivoting to. It doesn't really fit with the Maokai too well, or you just opt into banning out, you know, another top laner from Bin. So I think it depends a lot on if JDG are going to want to end up looking for that Ksante on 4 or not.
Well, that's a good pick as well. Ksante, as you said. Ruler's Ezreal taken away, though. Not going to get the champion he has a skin on, as I noticed when you were casting the other day. It was either you or Munchables mentioning that he just wouldn't pull out the Ezreal skin of his own. As I will say, with that gone away, we are slimming down the AD carry pool. Varus, Ashe feel like some of the A-tier picks left remaining. As Nara actually gone instead, Lyric, not going to be towards any of those mid picks, as Ziggs goes on top.
Yeah, and actually banning out the Gnar, I'm a little bit surprised. Like, typically you see like something like a Gwen ban if they wanted to go for a Ksante here. Or in another option, you know, that JDG can always end up going into. They might end up saving counter pick for top, considering that BLG haven't shown it. Just say you are already seeing the AD carry, so it makes a lot more sense. And now we get to see with where Ruler wants to end up. Varus, I think, fits the composition. You already have the Jayce coming through, provides even more CC to play with, and they're just going to go with it. So now for BLG, I mean, Ksante actually is open for your side if you want to end up going with it, having that strong engage, and then looking towards the mid laner. Like I said, that's a bit of the peculiar one, because Ahri being really the only other thing we know that Yagao would be incredibly comfortable bringing out here. It could be nice to have another AD option in mid lane, since you have the Maokai, and you also could always go an AP version of the Kaisa, but it looks like they are just going to stick with comfort at the end of the day.
Yeah, okay. Yagao, Ahri, as you said, comfort. Bin picking Ksante, one of the OP picks, as you were talking about, that 369 would probably hover over if it's left here, but 369 has played Ornn more times than the Ksante over this split, Lyric. It's been fun watching this guy, again, just bring out a champion that people have hovered on the verge of playing or not. So right now, it could just be tank v tank at the top side, as Bin on Ksante rounds out the composition, but will 369 do what he's expected to do?
I fully expect the Ornn to come out. We still have things like the Gwen that are available, though, if he wanted to go towards that. And, I mean, would still function very well in the 5v5. He already hovered things like the Kennen being available. But I think having a bit more frontline just fits the system that JDG have been playing all split long. And you said, I mean, this guy knows these matchups so well. He's been doing it. He's been doing it for months. There it is.
Yep. So
a ton of engage coming through for JDG, which is a little bit interesting when they also do have a lot of range to play with from the Jayce and the Varus, but also they will be providing peel, right? Because for BLG, they have a full dive composition. Ahri jumping in, Kaisa jumping in, you know, CC coming out from the realm of Ksante. So it's going to be a lot about the CC from JDG being used to protect people like Ruler and Knight to make sure that they're able to survive the onslaught. So it's kind of a nice change of pace where BLG feels like getting more aggressive tools in this game too.
So do you play for range here again? Because we've got Jayce, and as you were saying, you know, keeping the carries safe. Does Ruler go poke here as well, or do you need on-hit Varus to deal with the first seed in the world right now? Because no one's locked in Worlds, but today someone will. Before any other region, BLG JDG Game 2 coming up. Holy moly.
Yeah, fans
Look out
going
there.
absolutely crazy.
LGD, let's go.
And if anyone out there is wondering, you know, hearing Hysterics say, oh, they lock in Worlds, what seed did they lock in? They'll, at minimum, lock in second seed. So they'll at least have enough championship points to go second, even if they'd end up losing in the grand final. So they'd be 1 or 2, they'd be in the main event, wouldn't have to go through the play-ins, and they'd be definitely feeling great being in that situation, right? I mean, hell, a lot of these players looking for a chance to win their first World Championship. I mean, just across the board, right? I guess only Ruler coming through and having gotten that achievement before.
I mean, it would be such a great accolade to add to your list, especially for BLG, considering that they'd not only deny the Golden Road from JDG this year, but these players, like, they do not have the experience when you compare up to a team like JDG. And to correct myself, as you helped me before, Lyric, yes, of course, the first team to lock in Worlds is a better way to put it. As we're very early in the split, but his grand final points can't be underestimated. A top 2 seed would be insane here. As BLG try to fight back from what game 1 was, which was individual skill, domination, Kanavi's world, us living in it. Paraphrase Medic. As the 2v2 not going as exceptional right now, as Ruler just fights back.
Yeah, and we can see, right, went to lethal tempo, so we expect the on-hit to come through. And just going to play to be able to dodge out on all the all-in and, you know, believing in his front line to do the job, which at the end of the day, I think is a good call when you're going to need that damage to be able to come through to end up hurting and taking down people like Bin and On, especially if you expect to be hitting a lot of frontline from the way that this game should pan out from the way the comps come. So I think it's the right call. We just need to see JDG able to execute, but you hit on it. This is a team that you know can execute.
Oh, yeah. And no matter how hard the comp, you have faith. But, Lyric, I will say, all AD damage coming into this comp with BLG is bottom lane 2v2 could be in trouble. There is a ward there to spot, but Missing and Rule already go in. There's a flash, and Elk responds likewise. Ornn can just walk this one out, but with Kanavi making his first appearance, a summoner's gone.
And already finding the early tempo. Once again, leaning back on what he said in that pregame interview, that out of me and Shun, the one that performs better is going to be the one that is more proactive. So really believing in it thus far. And now you're going to have a pain point to try to punish bot lane once again. Hell, Missing going to have multiple opportunities to look for the engage, look for the CC, and then potentially burn that cleanse too.
I mean, again, last game, it was just crazy how JDG's bot held onto their summoners unless playing aggressive. Missing, as you mentioned, it's one flash, but it's 2 summoners likewise already down for BLG. Ignite almost up, as it was an earlier engage at level 1 that tried to get more out of JDG. As Shun now moves into position, that ward cleared by Jing Dong, or rather has expired, so Shun will move into River unspotted for now.
Yeah, going to be able to guarantee this one. Might even be able to make his way up towards top and pick that one up. We're going to see if he decides to look for that with the fact that Ksante having so much of that early pressure. But doesn't look like it for now. Just going to head towards spot lane. I don't think an opportunity should be there. I'm not sure if the wave bouncing back just yet, but he's actually angling around the turret.
Trying to, at the very least. Sapling's in position for a counter as the ward to spot some movement through the lane. Shun would have to flash and find a great bramble smash. But rather, with the wave crashing in, as you suggested, Lyric, this could be the all-in. Ruler still with flash available. He cleanses first. There's the strikes to come through. Elk tanks under turret, though, and he's going to drop down. It's first blood, but Missing with a response, as at least the wave was denied.
Yeah, so ends up going 1 for 1, but still Elk holding aggro for so long, a bit of a tragedy. While that was going on, Kanavi actually ganked top. I'm a little bit surprised that they weren't able to get at least a summoner for that exchange, but JDG, I mean, the fact that you go 1 for 1 in a 2v3 situation, I feel like definitely is something you're feeling good about. Not even really behind in, not even really behind in CS, but it does mean, right, they're going to end up bouncing back into the BLG bot lane. We're going to see exactly how it went down here, because it's Missing. Start things off, gets his job done, throws up the stun, takes aggro, but then it switches over to Elk too far in under turret, and without the flash, right, can't flash away after that first shot to escape with his life, so...
Yeah. I was going to say, Lyric, I think Ornn just thought he was tanking turret, probably getting to the edge of range, but a little bit too far out, as JDG are going to find themselves a cheeky back, or rather not. Yagao is out of it before that 2v1 starts off.
Already seeing JDG concentrating a lot of their vision up towards the top side, to where BLG, of course, still having that ward in lane, you know, right past the turret. So if they saw, you know, the Sejuani or if Missing was approaching from lane, they'd have that information. And it's going to be about if either team wants to try and pick up an early Drake. It doesn't feel like either team has really asserted like strong presence over the bot lane 2v2 so far, where they can just outright start one up. So it looks like maybe just going to end up trying to find ganks towards bot once again.
But Shun is starting to drag it off. He will be on a ward as he encroaches down in this territory bot side. Ruler Missing getting pressured a lot more. And Lyric, this game, I will say, Shun is a lot more proactive towards his bot lane first. And feels like he's getting some kind of edge on Kanavi. However, have I spoken too soon? Oh, did I curse him? Elk flashed on. Not dead yet, though. Kanavi, out of range. Charm saves his life. That Bramble Smash playing with fire, but it doesn't matter. Yagao comes through with the Spirit Rush reset. And JDG are punished. So close, but that ain't going to be the cigar as Yagao runs in with the boys in the neighborhood. And bro, did JDG feel the smack across the back of the head.
BLG using the fact that they had mid-prio, Yagao was already heading down to try and, you know, give them some presence over Drake. I thought the low health bars of people like Elk and On would have dissuaded them from starting it in Kanavi. Man, they were so close, but JDG, they look like they don't want to stop. BLG, though, they read the situation well. Or do they?
No, they don't. Missing can't get out. He's interrupted. Shun with another kill. Woo! Well, game continues to fire up, but in BLG's corner for this early game, Lyric, which is a completely different situation.
Which is great, right? All of us here, everyone watching, we want a series. We want the 5-game banger, BLG, JDG, and now BLG showing signs of life. Kanavi was so close, but it's actually Ruler's arrow I want you to focus on. My God, not being able to find it. You know, at least there could have ended up being a 1-for-1. Then it's not the end of the world. No AD carry on the opposite side, but they keep going in. They end up finding Ruler. And Yagao having the Spirit Rush, having that prio in mid, really being the main difference maker to cement them all those kills. And really just taking advantage of a back timing coming out from Knight, which is why he was still catching a wave in mid.
But I will say, on the back end, Lyric, at least when he did come back, he chose to stay mid and picked up almost 2 turret plates. So, as we're looking at top, what happened? I guess that's where 369's flash went. Yeah, Bin trying to solo kill, as Bin does.
Now, finding that CS advantage in the 1v1, which, you know, Ksante should be able to do. And Bin, I think a lot of people would expect to be the more dominant top laner. Definitely has the stats showing it, which, you know, different champion pools, right? 369 leaning way more heavily on the Ornn and kind of being that role player, so it's what you'd expect. But JDG, despite being down in gold, despite giving over kills, opting into picking up the objective. So I like that BLG don't bring their bot lane up. Like, this should be an objective for the side of JDG. So trying to find something and get more for your bot lane would probably be the play here. But with Shun's positioning on the map, it doesn't actually translate much into any vision or any plates down for your bot lane.
Yeah, so with Herald picked up, maybe JDG can claw some back, at least for the time being. Elk with the shove in bot. Won't be instantaneous, so Ruler will be able to catch the majority, as it is a slow push he's working with here. Just trying to coax them in to some kind of play, as Shun is not walking over vision. The control ward there. 369 could be in trouble. He's rooted back, and now follow up there. Twisted Advance is great. There's Call the Forge God, but the Ram Jam, and thank you, ma'am, he says. Now for a Searing Charge out. That's next for 369, but he's sticking around, trying to buy some time. No one's coming to help him. But the fact that he survived so long is a testament, as Bin picks up the kill, and Shun is online this game too.
Great job by BLG. Shun, I mean, finding so many opportunities. JDG trying to get something on the opposite side by stealing away some jungle camps, but it looks like BLG are aware that it's happening. We can see where Ornn's position is on the minimap, and even Yagao backing off a little bit, just in case anything started happening. And how much of a wave? Okay, so not much of a wave, so I don't think JDG should be able to do anything off of this other than take away some more camps.
Just toying with danger as well. On, not going to get the root down. Elk's coming in. Shun now in bot side with that level 6 available, Lyric. As Chains of Corruption going to be used. Cleanse away. Elk still gets hit by the arrow in the quiver. As now, again, threatening this bot side with the Herald. Kanavi is looking for business.
Gonna back off for now. Looks like at the end of the day, deciding, hey, not really much we'd be able to do off a Herald push here. And now we're getting to a point where the advantage that BLG have picked up with these kills, with the CS in lanes like top lane, are starting to show. Jack Show picked up for Bin. Demonic Embrace there for Shun, so gonna have a lot more damage coming out Kraken Slayer for Elk. Pretty much any skirmish that happens right now, BLG should just be favored unless a massive whiff comes through. Of course, we do have things like Cleanse Stun on Elk, so maybe there's some opportunities there for you to try to look for a pick with things like the quickness, but that would be relying on Elk being isolated in situations like this.
Always someone nearby. On going to back off, but Yagao even hovering down in case. JDG threatened by a potential gank in one of those brushes as Yagao taking some damage from Knight, who's just been chilling away in the solo lane. But remember, it is the items we speak of in BLG's hands. It's the strength there in this early game. Even Bin having a great time in this lane, as there might not be a CS lead throughout all lanes for BLG, but right now, you're saying that this is a vast improvement on game number 1, Lyric. It is an early game that they can play with. And remember that we said, you know, early games for both these teams are the cause and the motto and the identity of both BLG and JDG through the regular season. They find an early game lead. They don't have a trouble closing a game out, as we know both these teams are top tier caliber.
And now a lot's going to come down to, in my mind, not necessarily how the carries do on JDG, but again, how, like, the supporting system does to not allow, you know, Elk to be able to fly on and, like, you know, delete Ruler with the help of Yagao or, you know, situations like that. Because I think those are the worst case scenarios for JDG, is BLG being able to get past the front line.
On, Permafrost's going to be there. Shock Blast under turret. It's a little bit cheeky. Missing gets charmed, but it doesn't matter. On's pathing disrespectful as Shun ulties afterwards, but Herald gets the charge. On with a bit of a mistake that gives JDG an angle.
Weird mistake, too, and On has been, I mean, just such a good player. Again, such a drastic improvement from his early days on how criticized he was. And I'd say fairly so, but now because of that, BLG, we'll see if they even want to elect into this. I think it would be quite rough, but some cooldowns were used finding that pick onto On.
But Shun also burnt his ulti as well. The Rell died. The engage tool's not there. And Lyric, it's going to be a second dragon for JDG. So just when I'm talking about BLG being in a better spot, JG are the ones stacking the objective. And when we talked about some of the poking tools, some of the, I guess, you know, tankier tools this time for JDG, we know how these fights want to go. And JDG might have control in front of these upcoming neutrals, considering that they've already controlled the tempo for the first two.
Yeah, but you need to remember, it's not going to be super poke heavy, so we are going to go, oh, Yagao not able to connect with the charm.
Ooh, the ping strong boys going. Come on. Internet cafe days relived. Close call.
If you missed it, this is the 21st series Knight and Yagao played against each other. If you're just counting LPL plus internationals, this is a whole ton over, you know, not too many years in the LPL. This Knight.
Okay. Kanavi is here, but Shun now shows himself. There's no room for Permafrost as topside continues being hovered up, exceptionally since Ben is pummeling 369. And he's back against turret as Elk walks into the lane. And here we go. Chains of Corruption's cleansed away. Missing jumps in with the quickness. But as soon as Elk flashes out, the teleport comes through from JDG. But it's Knight who will fly through, who bullies Elk. The damage insane, but as Shun tries to help out, he turns his target. It's actually On, excuse me, with the Magnet Storm, who gets ignited and drops down to missing. Yagao has now teleported in, but JDG have done the damage, and BLG can't respond.
And it's kind of JDG taking advantage of some of the like rotations on the map made by GLG, going with some unexpected plays of their own, like that TP down to bot side tonight, to create picks. Right? We know if any like 5v5 or 4v4 would have happened, BLG should have been able to come out on top because some of the earlier item advantages that they've been able to pick up. But I like that JDG are kind of making these very flexible rotations to catch BLG off guard and bring the gold very close to even.
It's insane, isn't it? And especially with an Ornn on the team, you know that gold value is only going to be more disingenuous as the levels accrue. So still, as Ben is in a position where he wants to continue taking this all out, or rather threaten one in that ulti. It just seems like JDG always have a will and a way. It's kind of insane. Again, you know that game one, we were talking them up so much, like the individual skill that was coming out of JDG. We're seeing pockets of that again. Even though BLG have really opened up this game so beautifully, it is nice to see why we hype up JDG and the fact that they can never be out of a game, despite us talking up early game for both these teams and how easy they can close it out, I guess, against other teams.
Yeah, just being creative. Their macro being something a lot of teams have highlighted when they face them.
Caught again. Permafrost is going to be there. I mean, this Rell has been caught out time and time again. There's a re-engage, but Yagao coming through. Maybe this time it is a bait. Elk flies in with a killer instinct, but Yagao now in a bad position as missing his help do the job. A third death might mean more as BLG pile in. Shun going to be Permafrost. Charm not connecting. Shun hiled over as Ruler stepping into 3 people. He finds Shun, but he'll die for it in the end. Ambitious as always is the AD carry as Elk's the one to pick up the kill. The poke hit's missing as well as BLG's AD carry now in a bad spot without the cleanse available. Launched on Kanavi with a re-engage. He does not respect the big boar, and JDG snapped their jaws shut again.
Ruler is just playing so bold. Not only in game 1, where, again, remember numerous situations where he was willing to chase people down and die, and then his teammates be able to follow up on the kills. Same thing happening here. So JDG went out in the mid play. Ben was able to finally get the turret up in top side, so he's just trying to push his advantage as far as he possibly can to try to be the thing that evens out, the thing that's let Ruler come back into the game, that's, you know, having Knight push forward, because we see here, starts off with Ornn just getting caught out. Once again, JDG doing a great job playing in the enemy jungle. Bit of disrespectful pathing coming out from Ornn. He gets taken down, and keep your eyes on Ruler. Twisted advance, cleanse, instant flash once Elk pushes, you know, his ultimate button. So not going to let that one come through. And then wanting to keep running down Shun, gets CC'd, but the damage not exactly there. And I guess it just looked all a little too enticing for him.
He just runs into the battle of 3 people.
He just don't care.
He just doesn't, does he? And I mean, here again, Lyric, Kanavi has been on point.
He's having a great series. I mean, 2 games in a row. I was so sure after the first few minutes that we had that it was going to be a bit of a repeat of a game 1, just in the opposite way, that BLG would be able to dominantly close it out against JDG. But now, gold exactly even. Going to get a bit more here with this Herald. We'll see if they can actually get turret.
They won't.
And they're just trying to gain prio to be able to get on this dragon first. Elk still doesn't have flash for a little while, but Ruler also doesn't have sums.
Kanavi jumping in, sapling in the brush, flashes away from the charm, but the poke from Knight ensues as JDG are now in a choke. On is looking for his angle, but he doesn't have real flash. It's only Hex Flash with the Magnet Storm. He Hex Flashes over, though, and finds Kanavi. The Magnet Storm is only a 1-man, though, but it's on the tanks. Look at missing jump back line as Bellows Breath gets past them all. BLG have been corrupted as Bin separates that naughty jungler, but the charm doesn't find its way. JDG with numbers advantage as Bin tries to flip over, tries to right the wrongs of BLG's teleports there, but you will not be leaving, old friend. Jing Dong, the doorbell of death. I can hear it in the distance again.
It doesn't matter how good BLG are. It doesn't matter that they finished first in the regular season. Honestly, we're probably in better form coming into the series. JDG just absolutely live rent-free in their heads. Come back in this fight. I mean, isn't really coming back in this fight when BLG throwing everything onto the front line, like you pointed out. Shun's ult, Ornn's ult, everything onto the tanks. I mean, keep your eyes on Kanavi and 369 because that's where, right, Shun's ult thrown out. We have the Magnet Storm going there too. And then we're going to see just Ruler and Knight off to the side, dishing out consistent damage onto them. Didn't matter the call of the Forge God wasn't able to be followed up on, because they're just getting whittled down. And then sure, we have 1 kill able to be brought back by the fact that Bin has it all out and can bring the Sejuani over the wall, but the damage has already been done.
Disrespectful. Knight just follows him down, hunts him, and 4-0-2 now on your scoreboard. JDG, they didn't have the early game, but boy, are they taking the hearts of the mid game. Now with the gold lead as well, they got the 3rd dragon. Yagao in a bit of trouble too. There's the Glacial Prison down. Yagao has the flash, then ulti. Missing comes in for the counter flank as Bin now teleports in, but JDG aren't afraid of him. Missing threatens up with the quickness almost up and available. There's another TP. Bin now in trouble. Has he gone too far? Over the wall, he'll be taking an enemy with him, but under turret, Missing takes a kill of his own. Call the Forge God helps with that one. As BLG, it is like game 1. They just can't put a foot right as soon as JDG get their hands in it.
And you'll take that trade every day of the week. Mid laner for support. Ruler, not even here, just pushing out, denying a wave, denying golden experience in mid lane.
Oh,
so
no.
JDG finding a bit more Kanavi.
Oh, these backs, these positions, JDG just keep fighting BLG.
Oh, is Ruler caught?
Is it free real estate? He is. He's going to go golden, but JDG are coming in. Do they want to take the rest of this fighters? No. Ruler is just going to drop down and give a massive bounty. Over to Elk. The gods can bleed. Gods can make mistakes. And BLG have some kind of angle to continue this game in a better spot.
Cleanse gets burned, and Elk taking advantage of the fact that he can look for those cross-range, kind of like cross-map picks of sorts, be able to join the fight out of nowhere, and Ruler not expecting that one to be able to come through. So still neck and neck. The real big difference maker is just JDG on Soul Point, and then Knight now has gotten so much gold. I believe he's about a full item up on Yagao.
Hang on. It's Ksante. He doesn't have all out, though, so he needs a bit of backup. Shun's coming in, but Kanavi's there as well. We're going to try and get him next to the wall, but Bin threatens to get the flash at the very least. The Twisted Band finds nothing, or rather, Nature's Grasp as Shun gets hit in the face by Knight's combo, and this game, it's hurting, as they can't find anything, but at least they stop any play from going further up, as BLG are able to get a side turret in the meantime.
So BLG bringing it right back. Doesn't matter that JDG were able to find a couple of good plays earlier on. With that turret and with the kills, they've started stacking up again. We're back to even. And kind of taking stock is, never mind, apparently we get a replay of...
No stock.
Is this the... Okay, so this is the original shenaniganry that we had up towards the top side. A lot of actually key abilities kind of missing it for a set. Accelerated Shock Blast not hitting, but Ksante bringing, you know, on into the fold, but between the quickness... He's able to find it in the end. But then it's here. Ruler's like, all right, we've won. We backed off. I'm going to push this wave and deny the golden XP. And them not expecting on to be here. Maybe getting by right before that control ward was placed. And then once the CC comes through, Magnet Storm thrown out, you're able to follow in with the Killer Instinct to guarantee this kill for the side of BLG.
It goes to Elk as well. 650 gold shutdown means 3 items fast approaching. We have to remember that it was the early game. It was that bot side that for Elk was going pretty decently, at least better than the first game. So Elk seems like he's a saving grace. And Lyric, what we know about BLG this year with this new comp is that Elk is the hyper carry in the late game. He is the damage dealer. He has one of the highest AD damage ratios, or at least values, in the LPL at above 30% consistently.
Yeah, he's the big carry for their side. And now, like you said, I mean, nearing 3 items. Also picked up a stopwatch on his last back, which can do so much if he dives in and then has to wait for his team to reposition around it and help him get out of the situation alive. He'll be able to do so. I wonder how close Ruler is to his 3rd item. What if he's going to go like the Rift Maker route?
But dude, On just got chunked, and it's Ocean Soul in 30 seconds. Knight chunks out, Ruler chunks out, and On might just have to base and give a 4v5. In light of one of the most important objectives here in this game that could lead to match point if JDG find the fight.
It's going to be important to hit a shock blast like that. You're thinking of that one, right? Elk's now chunked, and for BLG it'd be so hard to try to find a fight. But both teams posturing over midway for now. The fact that BLG are the ones with current river control gives them a bit of threat.
Ooh. Bin tries with the Tovo strikes. Elk stepping up as Bellows Breath stops him from getting rooted in place. JDG take a bit of chunk themselves. Bin is so aggro,
Bin's huge.
But he doesn't find the knockback. So Bin, as he walks it out, BLG moved to river with him. A bit of poke damage to follow through, but JDG now have to walk into river. Oh my god! Knight may have single-handedly given them a dragon.
And they need that, right? Because we're seeing they are not getting any damage on the Bin right now. But that's not going to stop them from going forward.
Nature's Grasp flies across the team. It's Kanavi to tank it up. 369 as well. The poke follows through. Great Kanavi ult. Takes out Yagao. Dragon reset for now. Call Forge Goddess. What a Magnet Storm! It doesn't matter though, as Elk is in the thick of it. JDG refused to die. The kings of the world will continue cursing BLG.
And how does Ruler not have to cleanse? How does Ruler not have to flash in that situation? So many summoners also up for the members of BLG. Trying to all in and just getting taken out so fast. That's Soul. That's Baron.
JDG can't beat BLG. It doesn't matter how close it looks. It's just the one team that BLG are cursed not to find a win against, it seems, or at least a good spot in the series as Baron goes down, as JDG look mentally sound. This was
what even
bananas.
happens here? My eyes are on Ruler the whole time because like, oh, Ruler's chilling, Ruler's fine. We see come out, great Glacial Prison come out from the Sejuani right away. And then here, just members jumping in. Oh, just so much CC quickness. Magnet Storm doesn't end up mattering either. And then Ruler doesn't even have to use anything.
What is happening?
They all dive in. They all dive in straight to things like the quickness, like the knockback coming out from 369. Just the bounce house. It really what it was.
Biggest mosh pit I've ever seen, man.
Yes. Yes.
And you go to metal concerts, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is definitely like one of those ones at a festival where the whole audience is literally just a mosh pit. No one is safe anywhere, which is sad because sometimes you just want to be safe and you just want to chill out. But to be fair, BLG were the little guy that walked up and pushed the 8-foot-tall, big, muscular guys, and they paid for it. You don't do that. I don't do that.
Soul.
I'd get messed up.
I mean, they've given the big, muscular guy, Ocean Soul, a massive gold lead. Now Elder on the board. BLG the ones defending as this Baron play is cleaving through the map. Mid and top are just getting shredded so quickly, and we have a minute 45 left.
I'm sorry, now you just got me imagining Ornn in a mosh pit, because that really would be something. But like you said, you're going to be able to use this Baron to great effect with having things like the Jayce line, just keep throwing out those accelerated shot blasts. They should be trying to find an opportunity to all in, but the problem is JDG aren't showing on any other lanes.
Whoa. Chains of corruption, here we go, Call the Forge. God, that's a great ulti from Ruler. 369 misses the ult. We won't focus on that because JDG have found themselves a quick double kill through the top side with Baron, with the poke. I mean, BLG are now up against match point, it feels like, as they just have to dot the I's and cross the T's, and we will be 2-0 into this upper bracket finals.
Yeah, we're going to see if they're able to do it with the amount of time they have left, because we do have, you know, you have tools to work with on the side of BLG. A lot of key ults down for JDG, but JDG might just be too big.
They might. Techno Viking in the backline. 369 just stands there. Again, he's a loose unit, cannot be stopped as Bin has to defend, but with one Nexus turret down, another about to drop. There he goes again. 3 versus 5. It's so impossible as Elk is at least trying, but they flash on his head, and Knight will not let him stand in vain. As BLG have an open Nexus, they try with the Everfrost, but JDG refuse to die. This team refuses to be bad. And with a 2-0 start to the series on match point to secure their spot at World and another championship, JDG are the sexiest team alive.
I seriously want to see the psychology reports of what happens to BLG. What happens to them when JDG are sitting across from them on stage? It just looks so different. Or is it JDG? Is it just JDG are the ones who are like, okay, you know, training